Welcome to MadLit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Jo Wright, your host at MadLit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Hi everyone, it's Jaime Jo Wright here at MadLit Musings, and today I have with me Penny Frost McGinnis. Hello, Penny.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to have you with me today.
And I'm happy to be here.
This is super fun. Now we were trying to establish before we hit record whether we'd ever met in person.
Yes.
And I don't think we have.
I don't think so. I've seen you on Facebook a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Facebook kind of makes you feel like the world got smaller and like you've met more people than you really have.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. And then you go to writers' conferences or any conference, and I wish people would have their Facebook profile picture on their name tag.
Yes.
Because you'll see a name, you're like, I think I recognize them, but it doesn't look like their picture or whatever. Right. So anyway.
That's true. I had somebody tell me, oh, you do look like you look online.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, oh, okay.
That's a bonus.
Well, the white hair you can't really hide, you know.
Yeah. Well, people are usually like, you don't look like your author pictures at all, because I actually did something with myself for the author picture, and for the podcast here, I'm just like, hey, I'm a girl in a basement with a microphone, and that is a dangerous equation.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, man. Well, Penny, tell us a little bit about yourself, because there's going to be readers coming in going, I'm not sure I know who Penny is. And there's probably some who are going like, I'm her biggest fan. So tell us a little bit about...
That would be my daughters. So,
my daughters. Mom's biggest fan is here.
Yeah. I live in Ohio. I'm in Southwest Ohio on the Cincinnati corner. I've lived in Ohio most of my life, other than a couple years in Kentucky when I went to college.
Okay.
I'm married, and I have a dog named Rosie May, who's a golden, and she's our sweetheart right now. And we have 5 children and 11 grandchildren.
Oh, you're a busy grandma.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the youngest is 10, and I'm hanging on to her for dear life because they grow up too fast.
What's that?
And the oldest is almost 30, so
oh my,
we have a little bit of everything. Yeah,
that's a little bit of a age gap there for the grandkids. But oh wow, 11 grandkids and 5 children. Now, do they all kind of live within the vicinity, or are they spread out all over the world?
3 of them are close by, and they are the ones with the grandchildren, which is a blessing.
That is nice.
And one is a couple hours away, and one lives in South Carolina. She's been down there where all the hurricanes troubles have been.
Yes.
They finally got their electric back, and their home was fine, but they lost electric and all that stuff. Yeah,
it's been quite the ordeal.
It has. We've been praying for him. My nephew lives in Asheville.
Oof.
And he's actually been out helping people, and his home had a little bit of damage, but he has been able to stay there, and they are going out and helping people.
Okay, good. Well, besides being a mom and a grandma, you're also a writer.
Oh, I am. I forgot that part.
I know. Isn't that funny how you forget? Like, oh yeah, I do other things too.
That's right. I do. I also was a librarian for 24 years.
Oh my gosh. So you're like the unspoken heroes of the book world.
There you go.
I love it.
I love books. So what can I say?
That's good, because you write them.
I do.
Oh, that's fun. So librarian for how many years did you say?
24.
24 years. Okay.
And I worked with children for 12 of those years, and then I worked in a college library for 12 years.
Okay.
Cataloging. Okay. Very different.
Oh, yeah. That is a very different.
Yeah.
Because
I enjoyed
library cataloging is a science.
I enjoyed both. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So what made you start writing then?
Oh, goodness. I've been writing since I was young, as many writers have, but nothing serious. You know, I wrote the the poetry, and because I grew up
Yeah.
in the 70s, that was
Sure.
cool. And then when I was working with children, I really wanted to write children's books. And I took a class and I worked on some things. And then that kind of got put on the back burner as usual because I had children to raise.
Yep.
And even though I worked a little bit here and there and took some more classes, God had a different door for me. I can I can remember when I heard in my head, you really need to write fiction. And I was like,
Interesting.
no, I don't think so.
No,
like,
Lord.
Sorry,
Famous
you're going
last
to.
words. Famous last words
Yeah,
to God.
exactly.
No.
What was I thinking? And then he opened some doors, and I took more classes and met more people, and it took me 25 years.
Wow.
To continue to learn and while I was working. And as I learned, I developed some stories, and I have one that is written and is in my computer buried underneath things.
Oh, I think we all have those.
We do. But then my husband and I like to visit Kelly's Island, Ohio.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know Ohio has islands.
I was just going to say, this sounds like an oxymoron.
Up in Lake Erie. We have Lake Erie at the northern part of Ohio. So we would travel up there and visit Kelly's Island, and we fell in love with it. And I told him, I said, that's got to be a setting for a story. So I changed Kelly's Island to Abbott Island so I could fictionalize because I wanted to change some things around.
Right.
And that's where my series is set, the Abbott Island series.
Okay. I love it. I love series that are based on Great Lakes.
Yes, me too.
It's kind of like the unspoken, I don't want to say unspoken, that word's popping in my head a lot today. But it's kind of like one of those areas where you don't get a lot of books set.
Right.
Because it's always ocean-based or, Pacific Northwest lakes type areas. But then you have this big smattering of literally Great Lakes, which are mini oceans.
Yes.
Smack in the Midwest and Canada.
Yes. And they're just beautiful.
They are.
We've been to a couple of them, and we just love it. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. We've been to Maine, which I had thought about setting a book there. But I'll tell you, up around Lake Erie, it is just like that area. It reminds me so much of it. The Rocky Coast, the waves. It's beautiful. And the lighthouses. I love lighthouses.
Oh, yeah. I've done the lighthouse tours along like Lake Superior.
Oh, that sounds
Lake Michigan,
fun.
Which is the areas I'm, being in Wisconsin, those are the two lakes that I'm closest to. I'm not even sure if I've been to Lake Erie now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, you'll have to make a trip.
Yeah, it's going to be a bucket list. So.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's beautiful.
So you have a whole series set on Abbott Island, which is the fictionalized version of Kelly's Island.
Yes.
And that's right on Lake Erie. And so tell us about these books. What genre are they? Give us a little idea of what we're going to find at Abbott's Island.
My tagline for them is that they are romance with mystery, a dash of mystery, and the promise of hope.
I like that.
So I love to put hope in all my stories. I want to be encouraging and lift people up. We have enough to pull us down. We need that lifting up. And
absolutely.
My first one is Home Where She Belongs. And basically it's 3 women on one island. We'll say it that way. Yep. And Sadie is the star in the first book. And Marigold, who is in her 50s, is the star in Home Away from Home.
Okay.
And Lucy is the star in Home at Last. And Sadie's in her late 20s.
Okay.
I said Marigold's in her 50s, and Lucy's heading to 30. And she's not sure she's happy with what she's doing. She started working in the general store when she was 15.
Okay.
And by the time she was 24, she was able to purchase it with the help of her grandmother's inheritance, her inheritance from her grandma.
Sure.
And she has been working, and that's all she does. And she is wondering if there's something more to life. And then there's Owen, who moved to the island, and he has moved back where his aunt and uncle live, and he's a farmer.
Oh,
he has a good I want to say good, an interesting background that kind of surprises Lucy.
Yeah.
But he is there helping his aunt and uncle, who he had come to visit many times on the island before. And he and Lucy had crossed paths, but they had never really really known each other. We'll put it that way. And then there's a gentleman named Andrew who comes to the island, and he has movie star looks. And Lucy's kind of like, look at that guy.
Well,
so
throw movie star looks in there, everybody's looking.
But yeah, exactly. But I got to tell you, Owen is adorable. So I don't know how you choose, But
and you probably can't tell us which one she chooses either.
I cannot.
Spoil it.
Nope. But along with that, there is a mystery of there are holes popping up or going down into all over the island, and no one knows why or what's going on. And Lucy and Owen are bound and determined to figure this out.
Now, when we're talking holes, are we talking craters or are we talking like
not
holes?
Craters.
Like my brain is like the holes
someone
the
is
size
digging
of a coffin.
them. Someone is digging holes.
Got it. Okay.
They're maybe like 3 or 4 feet around, diameter, radius. I don't know which one. I was not good at math, but
me neither.
But
we're
they're
writers.
digging down.
Writers aren't supposed to be
exactly. But they're digging them in different places, and one of them, which you'll find out right in the first chapter, is Lucy's yard.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
She's like, what is going on? I can't have this. And the mystery grows throughout the story, and you learn a little more about it. I did some research for this story on the Yukon Gold Rush, which was fascinating.
Okay.
Because I did not know women went on the gold rush. Some went alone. Some went with their families.
Okay.
It was fascinating.
That's
but you'll learn more about that in the story too. So there's a little tiny bit of history in there.
Yeah, you're not really expecting to get to Yukon when you're going to Lake Erie, but you know what? Exactly. That's how fiction works.
I know, and I love it.
Isn't it great? I know. You're like, I'm going to take a piece of this and a piece of that, and we're going to mush it together and call it a book.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. Here is the book, Home at Last. I love the cover. It takes place in the spring. As you can tell by the tulips.
I would assume the tulips,
all the books are in different seasons, which is nice too.
Okay.
I'm a very seasonal person, so I kind of like doing that.
It's fun to do that too, because then you can you can even time when you read the books if you wanted to. Yeah. And then you're reading them in their season. You have one that's a Christmas one too, it looks like, right?
I do. Christmas in Ohio is an anthology, and one of my Abbott Island stories is in there.
Okay.
Yes, or you can buy it on Kindle too by itself. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Awesome. So the people can get a little bit of a Christmas read this time of year from you too.
I also have a picture book, Jamie.
Oh.
Did you know that? And your friend Jera is the translator into Spanish.
Oh, that's right.
I have Betsy and Bailey.
Oh, look at that.
And my daughter is the illustrator.
Okay.
And I have to tell a story about it real quick if you don't mind.
No,
Hannah travels to Guatemala with Habitat for Humanity, and they build stoves and do different things for the people down there. And she is good friends with a man who runs a school for the kids.
Oh, okay.
So Hannah was able to take the book with her, several copies, and she has a lady that speaks Spanish that was with her, and they took it to the school and got to read it to the kids.
Oh, how fun is that?
She videotaped them thanking me, and they had a picture of all the kids around in a circle listening. It just touched my heart. If the book doesn't do anything else, that makes me very happy.
Isn't that how it is? It's so great to be a writer when, we always have like dreams and things that we want around our books, but when you see and you hear those personal stories of how the book is being used to touch people, that's just always like the best reward.
I love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So when people check out your books, they can get some romance with some mystery. They can even find the children's book. There's a Christmas anthology. So you have a lot going on, Penny.
I do. This past year has been a little crazy, but it's a good crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not exactly just kicking back and relaxing.
No, I haven't since I retired. I retired 5 years ago.
Okay.
And this has been the focus since then. Yeah. One of my friends, when I retired, she challenged me to finish the book I was working on.
Okay.
And that was Home Where She Belongs.
Okay.
And it was, funny thing is, the timing fell so that it was during COVID. And I couldn't go anywhere. So
Why not write a book?
I used it to
Yeah.
work on the book. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I've talked to several people, and there's quite a few writers who are like, COVID was great for writing books because there wasn't anything else to do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Use the time wisely. But
So if we were to visit Kelly's Island, which is what Abbott's Island is based off of, what do we find there as a tourist or as somebody that just decides to go visit?
okay. First of all, you'd have to take the ferry over
Okay.
from Marblehead, which is a
Okay.
beautiful place with a lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got to Kelly's Island, you can take your car, or you could walk, or you could
Okay.
rent bicycles and golf carts, that sort of
Okay.
thing. But you'll find a really quaint downtown that has some little shops and
Mm-hmm.
restaurants. It has the general store,
Oh,
which
I
the
love
one in the book
those.
is modeled after, and I
Those are
love that
so great.
store. But there are so many nature trails.
Okay.
It's a park. There's a park. I mean, the whole
Okay.
island is basically a park.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it has some very interesting things like the glacial grooves. They are actually grooves where the glacier went through many
Oh,
years ago,
okay.
and they
Yeah.
have it preserved, so
Okay.
you can go up and read about it. There are fossils in it. It's very
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have something called an alvar, which is you hike out to the edge of the island,
Okay.
and it's a rocky part that's flat, but it
Mm-hmm.
has a really thin layer of soil on it, and
Oh.
plants grow on it. There are
Oh.
plants growing, and I'm like, how? Yeah, it's
Just a little tiny
fascinating.
layer of sweat. Isn't
Yeah,
nature
yeah,
just
it's
amazing?
fascinating. But there's beautiful trees, wildlife. We were hiking. There's a boardwalk you can hike on, which is nice for people who need an easy walk.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were out there, and we had a deer just standing there looking at
Oh,
us.
that's so cool.
There were dragonflies and turtles, and then it empties out into a beach, which
Okay.
is really nice. And
Yeah.
I love to look for lake glass.
Yes.
Yeah, I have little
Yes.
jars of lake glass that I've
Yes.
collected, and that's a lot of
Yes.
fun. So if
So,
you're into
no, go for it.
nature,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a perfect place to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So explain lake glass for readers who
Okay.
don't know that. Because for us Midwesterners, we're like, lake glass.
Yeah.
But some readers are like, lake
Well,
glass? What do you get? Like recycled glass that's floated up onto the beach?
yes, these beautiful no.
These beautiful beer bottles. We
It's like
collect them.
Well, it's like sea glass. It has
Yes.
the same connotation, but it's the little pieces of glass that have been tumbled and tumbled and tumbled in the lake, and then
Mm-hmm.
they wash up on the shore, and
Yeah.
they have that frosted look to them,
Yeah.
which I think is so pretty,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love that.
I found some
Yeah.
on Lake Superior one was like a rose, kind of a rosy
Oh,
mauve. It was
nice.
so pretty. And then another one was more of a green, kind of a
Yeah.
greenish blue, which is
Yeah.
more used to it. But I picked up the rosy one and I was like, oh, this is gonna get saved because
It's like a treasure.
it
Yeah.
is. It's a
Yeah.
treasure hunt.
It is. It
Yes.
is, and I love it.
With absolutely no
Really.
monetary value.
Absolutely. But
You just get a pretty
it's
jar of rocks.
impressive to the grandchildren.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Well, and I don't know if any of your grandchildren are like my son, but my son has more rocks in his room than he probably has stuffed animals or
Yeah.
socks or underwear or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
It's
they
just,
all love rocks, and so do
yeah.
I. I have a lot of rocks myself,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably
Yeah.
I
You know,
never
it's
grew up,
okay.
Jamie, so I guess
No, no, but you know what? There's worse things. I think it's good that you don't ever grow up, Penny, because it leaves more open for fun and joy in life.
it does. It
Right?
truly
Right.
does.
Don't
Yeah.
want to lose that childish wonder when you first go to a lake or an island or find sea glass or something.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love the wonder.
Yeah.
I raised my daughters that way,
Mm-hmm.
and they will still call me and say, "Mom, did you see the rainbow?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the flower?" They'll
Mm-hmm.
send me pictures of things, and my grandkids
Yep.
do it now too, and I just
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Just love it.
Yeah. It's so great. We were my kids and I last night were out picking our Concord grapes before it starts
Ooh.
freezing here in Wisconsin, and they're all ready to get picked. And I was like, now look, don't just look at the grapes. Look at what else is around the grapes in the branches. And my son is like freaking
Oh.
out because he's 12 and he's like, he picks up a grape. Mom, there's a worm. and then they find the little spider webs. And I mean, it's just, we think of those things in nature as basic, but then
Yeah.
when you stop to really look at them, the intricacy of the creator is just like, wow, it's artwork in one little tiny grape.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's
I
just
love
phenomenal.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. Keep at it. Keep doing it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're
I love
never
it.
too old.
No. And it's funny, too, because now I find myself doing what my mom did that bored me when I was a kid. Like, you're going to come help me pick grapes. No, I don't want to. It's boring. And I was telling my daughter last night, I go, you know what? Call me. Call me in 15 years when you've got your kids out here and you're picking grapes. Call me and say, Mom.
That's right. That's
I
right.
said I'd never do this.
Yes. I've watched my kids do that very thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I was just say, do you have kind of like this little moment of like, yes, it's joyful, and I'm also going to gloat just a little bit. A little bit.
A little bit. Can't help it.
Right. I know you can't. You deserve it. You spent all those years raising kids. You should gloat a little bit when they start copying what you did. That's awesome. Yeah. So Penny, back to your books, because like I said, with our conversations here at MadLit Musings, that's why it's mad, because we just go all over the place. But back to your books. If I pick up a book, am I going to have a story, a message of faith in it too, or is it mostly just an entertainment romance story?
No, you absolutely have a message of faith.
Okay.
Yes. All the characters grow in their faith in the book, all the main characters.
Okay.
Sadie, especially in the first book.
Okay.
She does, because she came from a difficult years growing up, and she depended on her grandparents, who she visited on the island, and ends up eventually in their home after they're gone. And she realizes that what she really needs in her life is God, and she needs to have faith. Yeah. And Marigold has been searching for her father for 40 years. He disappeared in an accident where her mother passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she moved to the island so that she could have a life of peace, because she couldn't live with her grandmother anymore.
Okay.
And she too grows, even though she's in her 50s.
Hey.
Her faith really grows. And so do a few of the other people in the book. And then in the last book, Lucy's story, the character Andrew grows. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a different take on it.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We won't
But
dig
I talk
too
a
much
lot about prayer and church and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we don't want to dig too much, because then we're going to give away the books.
That's
Everybody needs to get the books. So
Yeah.
So if readers who are listening want to find out more about your books, your children's book, find out more about you, where's the best place for them to go to do that?
My website is www.pennyfrostmcginnis.com. Very simple. I also have an author page on Facebook, Penny Frost McGinnis author, and I'm on Instagram as well. Awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Penny, this has been a blast.
Yeah.
I could just talk for like another hour and a half.
I know. It's awesome.
Then our readers would be like, is this podcast
what
ever
are they
going
doing?
to end?
That's right.
So we'll have to do this again, though, if you have another book come out. Is there more books in your mind that you're looking at writing and coming out with?
There are. I've been doing a little bit of research on writing a cozy mystery.
Ooh,
I really love reading them.
Yeah.
So I would like to try my hand at that. Yeah. I'm not one to stay in one lane. I never have been.
No,
so
as long as you don't hit any cars when you swerve into another lane, I think you're good.
Thank you. I'll be careful.
Thank you. Oh, Penny, this is a blast. So if anybody wants to check out Penny and her books, check out Penny Frost McGinnis. McGinnis is spelled McGinnis, just for clarification.
Jamie, thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
I enjoyed chatting with you too. We'll do it again.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a wrap for today here at MadLit Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.